This right here, this is the end of the story. And I never saw this man again. Welcome back, or welcome to my channel. Today's video is going to be all about how to get over a breakup, girl. How to get rid of that karmic partner for good. But before we jump into today's video, girl, be sure you hit that subscribe button down below, okay? Turn your post notifications on, give the video a thumbs up, join the fam, okay? And if you guys are looking for beauty content, body care, fashion, vlogs, be sure to subscribe to my other channel, India Ajay Everyday. Everything will be linked in the description box down below for you guys, okay? So let's go ahead and jump right into today's video. Okay, so I'm pretty sure that I titled this video something like how to get over a karmic partner, or maybe I did like how to get over a breakup, something like that, girl. But we're gonna really be talking specifically about karmic partners. And I feel like this can also go for like twin flames as well, because not all twin flame relationships are meant to go on for a lifetime. Like, it's not the same thing as like a soulmate. Okay, so girl, let's just go ahead and dive right in. So if you are not new to my channel, then you already have probably seen my spiritual awakening story time. And if you are new, girl, welcome. And if you have not seen the video, definitely be sure to go check it out after we're done here. So my spiritual awakening, really, in short, I was with a karmic partner. I ended up finally breaking the cycle and getting out of this karmic relationship. We cut ties. He and like everything that was involved with him quickly fizzled out of my life, and I basically was on like my spiritual journey, and here we are about 2.5 years later. So I'm kind of just gonna like touch on some of the things that I did to get over that relationship. So I would say that if you're, well, you might not even realize that you're in a relationship with a karmic partner, and it's probably because I didn't really understand what a karmic partner was, what a soulmate was, what a twin flame was, until I actually had my spiritual awakening and then started doing like research for that, right? And then after I gained that knowledge, I was able to look back on that relationship and be like, oh, I see what you did there. I see what you did there. I see how that was a karmic relationship. So a karmic relationship is a relationship that you have with a partner for however long, probably like on the longer side of things, like more than a few months, probably like a few years. For me, we knew each other for probably almost 4 years. And then our little like entanglement took place for about 3.5 years, right? So that situation, when you're with a karmic partner, it's a continuous cycle of like negative things that happen, right? So no matter what it is in the relationship, it's like you keep experiencing the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over again, right? And eventually you're supposed to get to the point where you're like, okay, it gets worse and worse every time, right? So for me, it's basically like meeting this man, knowing that he's not the one, just based on looking at him, right? I know he's not the one, but still feeling intrigued and still wanting to hang out with him, get to know him, whether it's out of desperation because I don't have anybody else, and we'll say a lack of self-love, low self-esteem, and just kind of accepting like whatever the person was offering to me, because my subconscious mind is telling me this is the best you can get, right? Like, make do with this because you're not going to get any better, right? That's what's going on subconsciously. So you get into the, or not you, I mean, this could be the same for you as well. Get into this relationship, right? Or this situationship, and kind of like, you know, trying to make him into what I want him to be instead of just finding someone who is what I want. Right? That's one of our biggest things. I feel like, especially as women, like we're always trying to turn a man into what we want him to be, make him look like what we want him to look like, make him do the things that we want him to do, instead of just finding a man who do all those things naturally, because that's just who he is, right? So it's like, and not in big ways, and honestly not really doing anything that he wasn't open to trying, but I'm saying that was a part of it, right? And so then you have this person who's like this free spirit, who doesn't really believe in monogamy, who wants to just like be free, like doesn't want polygamy either, like literally just wants to be free, right? And just do whatever he wants to do. So there are a lot of other women around, and so it just kept going in this continuous cycle of me like being there, but knowing that there are all these other women around, right? And so it gets to the end of the karmic relationship, in like the last 6 months, we had to have had incident after incident after incident, just thing after thing after thing after thing after thing. It's like the universe is literally like, how much do I have to hurt you for you to get the, you know? Like, how much do I have to hurt you? How many things do I have to do? How many situations do I have to put you in for you to realize that this should not be going on, right? That you don't have to accept this, that you can break the cycle and you can move on. It's not until I actually started my spiritual journey and was able to look back at what happened in the relationship and realize, okay, this is a karmic partner. So what happens with the karmic partners, you experience those cycles. It's the same shit over and over and over and over again. And it might get worse with time. It might just stay pretty consistent. But in the end, it's supposed to bring you on a journey of self-love, self-discovery, self-improvement. In the end, what you're supposed to be learning is self-love. If you feel like that's something that you went through, then girl, let's go ahead and talk about it a little bit more. I went through this experience, and when I tell you it just ended and it was just done, it's like the last 6 months of the relationship, I had kind of like already mentally checked out. Like in my mind, I was already like, okay, like I know I've said time and time again that I'm gonna leave this man, right? That I'm gonna leave this situation, that I'm gonna be done with this, right? But there's something that like you just know, like you just have this feeling where you're just like, I'm really not kidding this time. I'm dead ass. Like this is the end. Because by this point, I had already had my spiritual awakening. I wasn't totally aware of what was going on, and I hadn't really like dove too deeply into like research and stuff, but I had already woken up. At this point, I'm just kind of like, okay, it's time to get the out of this. It's time to move on. I ended the relationship. This is kind of enough of this or whatever, right? And then a few days went by. We ended up meeting up again while I was like out eating or something, and that was like our final goodbye. Like we sat in the car, we were like talking or whatever for probably like an hour, maybe 2 hours, whatever, just like chatting or whatever. And then that was the last day that I saw him. Got out of the car, like hugged each other, and we're just like, you know, all right, like this is the end. Like the story ends here. Like this right here, this is the end of the story. And I never saw this man again, except for one time when I was at a party and I spotted him and we had like a little talk, whatever. But that was one time that I saw him in this, like it's been 2.5 years, right? So since that time we got out of that car, over this 2.5 year span of time, I saw this man one time in person during Mercury retrograde, right? So it was the universe just being like, all right, let me just make sure. Let me just make sure you learned your lesson and you're really ready to move on. Let me just double check. And of course I was ready. Of course I was ready. So, you know, that was the end. Never saw him again. Cycle completed, right? Test passed. We're done. I'm saying all this to say, I really just wanted to give you guys kind of like a background, especially if you haven't listened to the Spiritual Awakening story time and you don't really know, you know, the tea. So that's what went on with that. Now let's kind of talk about how I like got over it, right? So I would say personally that because I had already kind of like mentally checked out in those last like, I would say, I think I said last 6 months, but probably like last like 3 months or so of the relationship, right? Sometime over that, right? I had already kind of like separated myself. And I feel like many women do this. Like you leave the relationship mentally before you leave it physically. Because once you've left it mentally, there is no going back to the physical. Like it's just done. Like there's nothing I can do for you. There's nothing you can do for me. Like this situation is over. The best thing that you can do is embrace your own journey. When you're in this type of relationship with a karmic partner, you get very entangled in the other person's life. That's what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be like this extreme experience that then catapults you on this self-love journey where you literally like go the opposite way, right? And so the best thing that you can do is just embrace that journey. Embrace your self-love journey, the journey of self-discovery, getting to know yourself, and just like really taking the time to focus on you. I feel like when you see people like do breakup videos and they're like, oh, let me give you advice of like things to do after a breakup, they'll either be like, oh, you know, find new hobbies and go out new places, like you don't need anybody, you're single, whatever. No. And I'm gonna say no, because take this advice. I mean, you know, do what you will with this information that I'm giving, but it's like if you've left that karmic partner relationship, you're probably in a state of mind where you're like, okay, like I'm really done with all of that. Like I'm ready to meet my soulmate and live happily ever after. So if that is you, you don't need to be going out looking for things to do. Oh, let me go out to this new bar, or let me force myself to go out to this happy hour and see if I can meet somebody, or let me force myself to try these new activities or whatever. Like, you really don't have to. This time in your life is really meant to be spent alone, like in solitude, really like getting to know yourself and understanding who you are as a person, and like really being on a healing journey. Still do things that you want to do. If you feel like, oh, I want to go, I heard this art gallery is having a show, like I want to go and see what that's all about. Of course. If it's something that you want to do, that you're like, oh, I came across this, that sounds really cool, let me do it. But if you have to like force yourself to go searching for things to do, all you're doing is distracting yourself from what's really going on. That's it. All you're doing is distracting yourself from what is going on internally, mentally, right? When that's all stuff that needs to be brought to the surface. Because if you've gotten to the point where you're in a relationship with a karmic partner, you have a negative pattern, a negative cycle that you keep repeating. You've repeated it so many times that now the universe has sent you a karmic partner. Like, you literally have dealt with so much that it's like, okay, this will break you. And then after we break you, we're gonna rebuild you. Because literally that's what's happening. That's what's happening. So I would not say to force yourself to find things, because you're not looking to distract yourself. You want to understand why you are feeling the way that you're feeling. Bring these feelings up to the surface and figure out, what is this pattern that I keep repeating? How did I get to this point, right? Because that's how you heal yourself. People might also say like, oh, spend more time with friends, spend more time with family. That's cool or whatever, but don't forget to spend time with yourself. Don't forget to spend time with yourself. You have to be focused on yourself and on your journey, be focused on your own healing. This is the perfect, if you are going through this, right? This is the perfect time for you to like reinvent yourself, to become the woman that you've always wanted to be, to do the things you've always wanted to do, to really create your dream life. And you still may feel very attached to this person, but you will get over it as time goes on. I also recommend that you do a cord cutting. If you have never done a cord cutting before, there are tons of videos on YouTube that can tell you how to do a cord cutting. You can do it physically, like with the 2 candles, tie the string and then, you know, cut it, say, you know, your words over it, all that kind of stuff. You can do it like that. You can also do it just like in a meditative state where you're just like visualizing the cutting of the cord, like around the candles and stuff. So look it up, girl. You can look up some cord cutting videos and see exactly what's right for you and how you want to do it. But definitely do that. Also, take a spiritual bath. If you've never taken a spiritual bath before, once again, on YouTube, okay? I'll probably do my own video on a spiritual bath soon, but you know, look it up and see what you can do. Especially you could do like spiritual baths for like self-love, or maybe spiritual baths for cleansing would be really good after this time. But like, cleanse your energy from all that stuff that you have experienced. Do the cord cutting, right? Start answering the journal prompts, right? Start journaling about your experience. Identify those patterns, because that's the way that you won't repeat them again. You won't repeat them again. Like, I feel like once you've had one karmic partner, if you keep getting karmic partners, like, you're just not conscious. Like, you're just not aware. Because if you are conscious of what's going on here, and you're like, oh, that was a karmic partner, like, I want to make sure I'll never make that mistake again. Like, especially if you really do deep dive into the self-love journey, you're not going to make the same mistake twice, because you're going to be able to identify those things in a person. And honestly, the universe is probably not even going to send you another karmic partner. I mean, girl, maybe. I don't know what's in your soul contract, but I feel like for me, it's done, right? Like, I completed that cycle. I'm done with it. I'm moving on to meeting my soulmate. Okay, next. So basically, I just wanted to say that, kind of like give you guys my story of what I dealt with a karmic partner, and really the things that I recommend would be a cord cutting, a spiritual bath, really like cleansing your energy, journaling, and not distracting yourself from your feelings. Understanding your feelings, letting them come to the surface. You can journal it, you could talk about it, you could do therapy, like you could, you know, when I say talk about it, not really with someone else, but like doing voice memos or something like that, if you prefer to do that instead of writing. But the best advice I can give you is to not run from your feelings, especially if the relationship, I mean, I knew this man for almost 4 years. Everybody that I knew during this time in my life, I knew because of him. So when he went, snip, snip, okay, so did they. I'm not really into like those are your friends. You know, like, you brought me in, like, those are your friends, those are your business connections, like, you know, like, that's your shit. Like, if I'm done with you, I'm done with them. It's all going. It's all gonna be cut off. I'm gonna start from scratch, like, and I feel like just like getting excited about starting from scratch. People be like, oh my God, I have to start over. Good. Start over, blank slate. Make it whatever you want to make it. It can really be an amazing experience. And if you've gone through like a breakup recently, especially with a karmic partner, there's something for you to learn from it. There's something you're supposed to be learning from it. So take the lesson, turn it into wisdom, okay? And it gets better, period. So that is going to be it for today's video, you guys. Hopefully y'all enjoyed, girl. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, leave them in the comment section down below, okay? And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.